welcome to Hot Issues. This week, we are taking a look at national politics with specific reference to the new Patriotic Party. The party has been hit by a spate of suspensions and recrimination. There are a couple of cases in court and so on. We'd like to find out what the future of this party is. Can something be reclaimed? What is the attitude of the major players in the party and so on? Welcome to Hot Issues. Hello and welcome back to Hot Issues. As I indicated, we are focusing on the new Patriotic Party and what is happening in that party. There are some who feel that the party is dangerously divided. There are others who think that the suspensions don't matter and that no matter what happens, the party will win the next elections. What are the different perspectives in the party? How can the problems within the party be resolved? And what are the major players doing? What is the general understanding of all the things that have led to suspensions and recrimination and so on? And we are particularly privileged to have with us in the studio for this conversation somebody who is in the eye of the storm. My difficulty is about how to describe him. Because some still believe that he's the national chairman of the party. Others question that. Mr. Paul Afoko. Sir, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, Chrissy.
Sir, how do I describe you? Chairman, former chairman, future chairman, how do I describe you?
Well, I would describe myself as the chairman of the NPP, and that's how it is. I put myself before the party, and the party gave me a mandate to serve out my term. And so I see myself as the chairman of the party.
That's in spite of the purported suspension.
Well, yes, because that's why we are in court. I'm in court because the so-called suspension is an unconstitutional thing that was done. I would want to not go too much into detail on that one because apparently my lawyers say it's sub judice. So, but I can say for certain that we are in court because I believe I am the chairman. I got endorsed by my party, and so for a group of people to sit in a room in Accra and to say they have suspended me against what the party has said, then we need to really look into that. I didn't draw my mandate from that group of 70 odd people. I got over 2,000 people voting for me out of an electoral college of 5,000. The next person, the second person to me I beat the person by over 500 votes. So basically, the over 2,000, or let's say the 5,000, because that's the electoral college, they gave me a mandate. I believe 70.
What if they've changed their mind about you?
Well, if they change their mind about me, we have a constitution that says, go back to them. Let them say they've changed their mind about me. And let them vote me out. And I will accept that. But not a group of 70 odd people who from the beginning never even supported me. You know the issues involved. I mean, you are a keen political watcher in Ghana, and you've done that for decades, so you know what happened within my party. All the attempts to block me, and even finally in Tamale, payment of inducements to delegates not to vote for me, but the message of reform that I had carried across the country had sunk in with the party. And the party, against all the odds, voted me in as chairman to carry out what I had promised them I would do, i.e. reform the party.
Some have suggested that all of this is happening because it appears that you don't support the presidential candidate.
Well, you see, I believe very strongly that those who say that are not saying it because they have any facts. they are saying it for their own personal reasons. Reasons for which I said I don't really want to go into publicly, but at the right time I will. Because I've got enough facts and figures about their motives, but for the sake of my party, I won't. But suffice to say that our presidential candidate cannot say that I don't support him. He knows how much support I have given him personally. Personally, he knows. And you can ask him when you get the opportunity whether I've ever given him support personally or not. And I have lots of witnesses to the quantum of support I've given. And that is personal, without talking about what I have done across the country, especially in the 3 northern regions. What I did in order to ensure that we won 2008, we didn't happen. And then 2012 again, we didn't happen. Look, I'll tell you something. There was one night, I think it was around 1 a.m., on the night of the voting, 2012, I got a phone call from the presidential candidate. At that time, I had at 1 a.m., that was when I was taking my lunch. It was a packed lunch. And just behind Navrongo Hospital, I was eating in the car and to continue towards Sandwell because I'd gone towards Garu area. And I got a call from the presidential candidate, Nanado, saying, Paul, he used to call me Paul then, Paul, I hear you are actually doing tremendous work out there. Thank you very much. You are not even sleeping at this time. And I just said, oh, Nana, why would I be sleeping at this time? We have work to do. You are doing yours in Accra, I'm doing mine here. By the way, you are not sleeping yourself, you are awake. And then he laughed. I mean, I'm just giving you examples and anecdotes of the support I have given. 2012 support.
But it's alleged that at one stage you supported Mr. Alan Shematin, and therefore you cannot be a supporter of Nana Akufo-Addo. That's one of the allegations in the party.
Yes, that is a very undemocratic position to take. You see, we go for a contest. And of course, I have my preferences. Those who prefer Nana Addo during the contest, prefer them. I don't begrudge them that. But coming to the last time, this 2012, because I had become the chairman of the party, there was no way I was going to support anybody, including Nana himself. I took a neutral position. I told Nana, in a meeting where there were 2 others, I told him, I said, Nana, I am going, now that I'm chairman of the party, I'm going to provide a level playing field for everybody, and may the best person win. But I know from going around the country that you will become the candidate. I told him that. Today I'm divulging it. I told him that. And there were 2 witnesses in the room.
So what about all of this speculation about Agenda 2020 and so on? And they drag you into Agenda 2020. What is this Agenda 2020 and why are you dragged into Agenda 2020?
Well, it's very interesting. You see, there was a time when we were told, and I want you and your viewers to cast your minds back. There was a time that we were told there was an Agenda 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2012 came to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said there is an Agenda 2016. Then we got the presidential candidate that the party wanted. And even before we would come back from Tamale to settle and begin to look at the things we needed to do to get the party battle ready, then those same discordant voices started again. There's an Agenda 2020. It's just visible. It's funny. I mean, they have an agenda. Those who put out those things have an agenda. And that is their agenda unfolding as we sit here. You know, I don't know, but they have always, at all times, found something to hang around Afoko's neck or whoever they don't like.
They've also alleged that there's a faction called the Kufuor faction, and that you are an instrument of the Kufuor faction of the party.
I plead guilty to being Kufuor's friend. I plead guilty to being reasonable and not intolerant. I plead guilty to holding the party's ideals over and above a human being. Kufuor is a role model that the party should look to. I mean, in our tradition, we've held power, what, 2 times? Once under Buzia, which was truncated by Achampo, and then the one and only time we've had a full term has been under Kufuor. So it's the accounts who say if you want to know what death looks like, look at sleep. So yes, look at Kufuor, look at his examples, but we cannot be stuck there. We need to move the party forward beyond what Kufuor did. And if we want power, which I believe the general party there wants power, then that is what we need to do. Look at the good examples, best practices that we know, bring them up to today's limits and knowledge, put them together and shift the boundaries forward so we can get power. So being Kufuor's friend, yes. Being admirer of Kufuor, yes. Seeing Kufuor as a role model who helped our party to see power, yes. But for those who want to stick to factionalism, I say that they are sticking to factionalism because maybe it serves a certain particular narrow interest, not the party's interest, not the party. I will not say because I admire Kufuor and therefore I find a lot of things about him worthy of emulating. That doesn't mean that Nanado doesn't have qualities that I cannot admire and also say, yes, let's bring this in on board as well. I refuse to be pigeonholed. I really refuse.
But is there a Kufuor faction?
Well, is there a Nanado faction? There are factions, but whatever labels you stick to them, these are labels. Every political party has factions. Every political party. Even the Communist Party in the one-party state has factions. So it is the labels. Somebody will say it is the Victor Uso faction. Somebody will say it's the Buzia faction. Somebody will say the other one is the JB Danko faction. Yeah, these are labels.
Are those labels really worth anything? Do they really, in day-to-day practical terms, mean something, these labels?
Well, I would say that they do, in the sense that in a rather very healthy environment, the kind of environment I am striving to create within our party, in a healthy environment, that is healthy competition. Competition of ideas internally. We distill them, come out with the best, and then we carry that as a party. But in the environment in which we are, where you get labeled, and then you get even outright lies hung around your neck, just so that somebody somewhere will prevail, then it's not good. It's not.
Now, I want us to go back a little to the time when you were campaigning to become national chairman of the New Patriotic Party.
Yes.
At one stage, it was indeed stated that the communications machinery of the party was used against you.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, it's a fact.
And what really happened?
It's a fact, and I can provide evidence.
What is the
Voice
evidence?
recording of people from our communications department of the party who actually sat there in that room at the party headquarters. It's like just behind the receptionist, there's a door. In there, a bank of computers. They sat there and concocted the story about me having been in an English jail. And the person who actually concocted it was caught. And Perry Okujeto, I have a recording of Perry Okujeto talking to me, apologizing for what that boy has done, and then bringing the boy onto the line to also, and I told him, I said, I don't want you to make him apologize. I want him to apologize because he is wrong and he knows he's wrong. I actually asked him, I said, have you ever met me? He said, no. I said, but you said that you were in England with me, you knew me very well, and I was a convict. Oh, I'm so sorry
so
about
your
that.
own communications machine concocted
Yes,
stories.
I can give you the tape to play. I can give it to you and to any media
What
house.
happened to those people who used the party machinery to malign you? What happened to them?
Oh, they are still there.
They haven't been suspended?
No.
They haven't faced the disciplinary committee?
No.
No suspension?
Nothing. Nothing.
How do you explain that? That party members can actually use the party machinery to malign a chairmanship aspirant or a national chairman. They don't face the disciplinary committee, nothing happens to them, but officers of the party who don't do that get suspended. How do you explain that?
What I would say is that this all happened when I was a candidate, as you said yourself, a chairmanship aspirant. Mm-hmm. But then when I became, the day I was cleared by the vetting committee, Perry Okujeto was there. And I told him in front of all the members of the committee, I said, Perry, what has happened, I hope, will not happen again. I leave this room to go campaigning, and I believe I will come back here as the chairman of this party. I will not want to hear anything about friendly fire. Those were my words. It was in a room of about 11 other people, apart from me, 11. I don't want to hear any more about friendly fire. We cannot direct fire at ourselves. It must be directed at the proper quarter where we are going to fight to win power.
Which is the proper quarter, if I may ask?
Against our opponents.
You mean the National Democratic Congress?
Yes, our opponents. Those that we are going to contest for power with. And this kind of fire I have in my mind is decent politics, issues-based, not where you hang a lie around somebody and drum it, and then tomorrow when that lie is exposed by a small truth, you have nowhere to stand. I believe in Ghana. Therefore, I believe that as a political party, all our endeavors is to try and get political power so that we can translate our ideas into the development of our country and our fellow people. And if that is so, why then should you do it any other way? So when I said this, I made a statement that even somebody in the room said, but that's a bit violent. And I said, no, it's not. I said, Perry, I became chairman, and you will still be at the communications department because I am not going to be vindictive. But the day you engage or allow anybody under you to engage in friendly fire anymore, your neck is on the block and I'll chop it off. And somebody said, that's violent. And I said, no, it's just a phase. It's just a phase. I'm not being...
Anyway, so we're going to go for a short break.
Yes.
And when we come back, I'd like us to explore this whole idea about your main competitor, who your main competitor is in the 2016 elections.
Yes.
Primarily because there are also people in the party who say that after all, you are fronting for the ruling party and so on. So when we come back, we'll explore that. Short break. Hello and welcome back to Hot Issues, and we are in conversation with Mr. Paul Afoko. Some say that he's still the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Some dispute that. Whatever it is, he's here and he's talking about the New Patriotic Party. Now, sir, some say, your opponents, that you are actually working for the National Democratic Congress. What is your reaction?
My reaction to this is just to laugh at them. You see, what the people of my party, especially those who say those things, what they do is they try to label you. They try to give a dog a bad name and hang it. So they find anything that they can throw at you to create disaffection. I mean, you were in Ghana when they said I was a homosexual. You were in Ghana when they went to all those ridiculous lengths. For over a year and a half, I have been vilified in the press, especially the MPP press. They put so many things on me. And in the end, when you finally want to nail an MPP person, recently they said Kufuor was working for NDC. So, I mean, if Kufuor can be working for NDC, then me, Paul.
The allegation was first made in 2009.
Yes, that he was working for the NDC, yes.
Sure, yeah.
Yes. And they haven't stopped. They haven't stopped. Even recently, somebody in the party actually called Kufuor a murderer, that he works for the NDC. So if they say Afoko is working for the NDC, given my credentials, then I keep telling them I went to jail because NDC put me there. When I came back home to Ghana, it wasn't even a question of am I going to look towards MPP or NDC. NDC didn't even factor. Yes, I have friends in the NDC. I will never deny that.
But everybody has friends everywhere.
I have friends in CPP, PNC, everywhere. Yeah. We went to school together. Mm-hmm. When we were in school in the 60s, there was nothing like MPP, NDC. I didn't grow up knowing that, oh, tomorrow this friend of mine is going to end up in NDC. Even those that in the heat of the revolution, when I was in detention and they came and they were on the other side, they came to visit me in detention. Meanwhile, they were the big men of Ghana those days with Rawlings and the PNDC, but they came to me. And today, you tell me that I cannot associate with them? It's the same Ghana. We have nowhere else to go to. We are friends and brothers.
Okay, now sir, you become chairman of the New Patriotic Party. What are the allegations against you? The allegations which were brought to your notice. What are the specific allegations which were brought to your notice?
You see, they brought so many. The way it started, and I used to say this in meetings, I said they drip of poison. When you keep dripping poison slowly, it gets to the point where it builds up and the quantity is enough to poison and kill the person or to kill the body. I can tell you without going into detail that at my instance, we've had over 22 meetings, private, at night, most often, in Madame Amabuzia's house. I'm naming names. Or even in Felix Oswatipong's house, and with 4 members of the National Council of Elders. The Council of Elders picked these 4 people to be part of a team that would help us to resolve our differences. These 22 meetings, apart from one, the rest were at my instigation. And I would call and I'll say to them, look, we need to sit with our presidential candidate. There are problems. We need to sort them out. There are problems. And it was continuous, at my instigation. Not a lot of people know this, but I did it. Every time, and I have witnesses to all these meetings. Witnesses, 4 elders, and Kobna Japon myself. And Nana would almost come with one other person. So the first meeting he came with Hackman, the next time he came with Baumia, and so on. I've put in a lot of effort, but the specific allegations are funny. Look, I give you a couple. There was this allegation that we had an issue to do with EcoBank, where there was some issue to do with some monies.
Yeah, the specific allegation,
yes,
I understand, was that you were cooperating with
the police
to investigate internal party matters.
I think this is a very good opportunity for me to explain this matter. We as a party went out there, we did our parliamentary primaries, there was some money coming in. I took this matter to the National Council, and I said to the National Council, look, we are expecting X amount. I want us to have a sharing formula. A formula that would enable us to disburse this money for the party to work effectively. And we agreed to share it on a 40% to go to all constituencies, 20% to go to all regional offices, and 40% to remain at the national level. This is how we agreed it. And then, going to the parliamentary primaries themselves, decided that, look, the 40% would have worked out to almost 25,000 per constituency. So, let's give every constituency 10,000 across board on account. But that means we still have to pay them another 15,000 later. I got severe resistance not to let a penny go.
Why?
That's another matter. Finally, I was given a budget.
No, the party had money.
Yes, yes.
The party had decided...
And the National Council had agreed.
Yeah, the party had decided that
yes,
a certain percentage should go to the constituencies.
Yes.
The region should retain 20%,
yes,
and the national 20%.
Yes.
We were acting on the basis of that decision.
Yes.
And there was resistance.
Yes.
Why?
That's another long story. The why I cannot say, but how the resistance came, we got to the point where even the General Secretary had to call the candidate, the presidential candidate, to appeal to him, to talk to the treasurer, to let us have this money to give to the constituencies, because he had grabbed all the bucket drafts and was not paying them into the party account. But that's another matter. There's a report out. I'm sure you can see it. What I am actually addressing in terms of why that has become a sin for which Paul Afoko should be hanged was that a certain young man called Ba Achamfo went to report this matter to the police, CID, to say, and I found this later, subsequently. I don't know the guy. I don't know him.
You don't know Ba Achamfo?
I don't know him. In fact, it was only recently somebody sent me his picture, so I have it on WhatsApp. But he and I have communicated since then. Since then we have. But he was Jake's special assistant. And when he went to the committee that was set up by the party to investigate this matter, he told the committee that he had gone through a similar thing when he was serving Jake. And so when he got wind of something like this happening, because in the past he had reported it and nothing had happened, he decided that this time he was going to go to the police. And that if he sat back and watched us, we were going to do this and sweep it under the carpet. So this boy went to the police. I did not know him. I was there. I think over 10, 12 days later, there was a lot of noise on the airwaves. We had even some constituency chairman in Ashanti region going on air to say that most of the money was generated by Ashanti region. And if this money goes missing, they were going to hold Paul Afoko and Kwabena Jepong responsible. This noise that was going on for a party chairman to sit quietly and do or say nothing would have been problematic. I felt if even our core people, like executives, are speaking, then I need to intervene. So I came out through my spokesperson and made a statement, and the statement is there for the whole world to see. In that statement, I just said there is no corruption in the party. If there is any and we find it, we will deal with it. Our candidate is incorruptible, and I would ask everybody to emulate his incorruptible nature. This is what the statement was. Now, to turn that into a charge against me, I was then told that that young man, Ba Achamfo, is my close associate. I sent him to the police, and that I went to the police headquarters to go and make a statement. I must admit that I did go to the police. I did make a statement to the police. I didn't go to the police headquarters. They called me. I refused to go. They followed me to my house, and I called my lawyer. My lawyer sat in there, and then they asked me. And I said, look, this matter is, the party is investigating it. So, and they said, no, a certain person has supported it to us. In fact,
which is the matter which Ba Achamfo reported? Is it the case of the alleged illegal opening of accounts?
And yes, the illegal opening of the account, and that the money would from there disappear, from his experience when he was working with Jake.
Why is the opening of the account illegal?
It's not that it was a new account that was opened. It's an old dormant account. This is an account at EcoBank that is titled 2010, something 2010 account. MPP 2010, Operation 2010 account, something like that. And it was opened by McMano. Now, this account was dormant. Nobody knew of it. Jake comes and goes. That account is dormant. I come in and I'm saying, let's give every constituency 10,000. And we will continue to give them the rest as agreed by the National Council. Then suddenly, our one and only account, because I had made the decision that we must operate one account so we can see everything. We can track every penny. Myriad accounts, suddenly you are looking and you don't know where the money is gone. It must be one place. So we go to that one place and the money is not there. Look, I wrote a memo to the treasurer and said, hey, where is this money? A short memo. He gave me a 4-page reply telling me I had lost all moral right to even ask him where the money was. Can you believe this? And then I have all those documents. I said, at the right time, because see, at the right time, I will talk about Paul Afoko. I will handle all these ridiculous charges that they have brought against me, just so that they can shunt me aside. But you see, when the lawyers sat with me and the police, and I told them I wasn't going to speak any further, the police said, you're not going to obstruct our work. Because we as the police are allowed to investigate anything we think borders on criminality. You can't tell us that your party has set up a committee, therefore you won't talk about it. So my lawyer said, look, answer their questions. So they asked me, they said, look, somebody has come to make a report. Do you have an EcoBank account? I said, I know of an EcoBank account. Are you signatory to it? I said, no. I couldn't have lied. Because we simply go to EcoBank and see that I'm not a signatory. And that is what made that account what it is. Because I wasn't a signatory. Kwamnai Japan wasn't a signatory. The finance committee didn't know of the existence of this account. The steering committee of the party had not been informed about the existence of this account or operationalizing it. Yet, millions of CDs worth of bank drafts were put over there, and it was only the treasurer and Freddie Blair who were running the account. Just the two of them. That is what made it the potentials. That is in answer to your question. So In the end, after I told the police that I was not a signatory, but I knew of the existence of the account and that the party was investigating this, they then said to me, we would want you to put that in writing. So my lawyer actually said, well, if it is answering the questions they asked you, yeah, of course. I can say, so I wrote the statement and signed it, and they took it away.
And how can that
And that's a sin.
And how can that be an offense?
Oh, it's an offense. And in fact, even this matter that is in court that I can't discuss, this is one of the things, even in their statement of defense in court, they've mentioned this matter, that I have gone and cooperated with the police.
I listened to a member of the Council of Elders of the party, and he was speaking on radio. And he alleged that you have treated the Council of Elders with contempt. You have shown gross disrespect to the Council of Elders. How true is that?
You see, when I was growing up in the North, and I'm sure a lot of people of our generation will understand what I'm saying, you don't call your elder a liar. You just say, oh, you are deceiving me. And that's how we do. That's a polite way of calling them. Me disrespecting the Council of Elders, I don't think there is any national chairman who has been subjected to what this Council of Elders has done to me. None. None. Look, for the first time, I allowed the Council of Elders to bring an observer team to sit and observe a steering committee meeting. For the first time, I have been called to a National Council of Elders meeting, and I'm in another meeting, and I informed the people in that meeting, 4 MPs and 1 former General Secretary, look, I am due to meet the Council of Elders, I have to go. Oh, but Chairman, we haven't finished. I said, we can continue. I get up and I dash off to the old office in Kokomlemle. I walk, just when I'm entering the office, the old hall, then the chairman of the Council of Elders meets me at the door and says, I'm sorry, we don't want to see you anymore. You can go back. Yes, fact. And I turned around and left. I mean, but for me, these are elders. If they called you and then they change their mind, yes. Where is the disrespect? Where?
It is also alleged that you were invited on several occasions by the disciplinary committee and you refused to go.
As I said, this also is a matter that is before the courts, but I can tell you very, very briefly. The first invitation I got to go before the courts and the discipline committee was because a petition had been sent there against me by one Nana Fidua, who is supposed to be Nanado's cousin, brother, whatever.
Eastern Regional Chairman?
Yes, first Vice Chairman, Eastern Region. Against me, sending me a petition. My father had just died 3 days. 3 days when they asked me to come before them. My immediate reaction was, the constitution of the party does not allow that. You cannot invite me, somebody walking off the street to just invite me to a discipline committee, the national chairman. The constitution is clear. You can't do that. But out of respect for them, I wrote to them and I said, look, my father is dead. We in the North, when your father dies, when it's a man, we sleep outside the house for 3 days. When it's a woman, you sleep outside for 4 days. So I slept outside for 3 days with some of my friends who went with me. 4th day, we were back in Accra. And then I wrote to them and said, look, I can't. Out of respect, rather than say to them, your jurisdiction has not been invoked. So you cannot even call me before you.
It has been said that at one stage you were invited to a disciplinary committee and you sent some letter to them indicating that you were sick, but you were seen at a meeting.
Oh, look, I will explain this. I suffer from spondylosis and it got bad. It's a spinal issue. And when there's a medication you take is very strong, and you're supposed to take one a day. And I'm advised when I take it not to drive, not to do anything. So I take it in the morning. And so by afternoon it's worn off a bit and I can function. And they wanted me that morning. And once again, you are calling me before you when you know you don't have the mandate. And I didn't want to disrespect them by telling them, look, go and look at your constitution. You can't call me. I said gently, look, sorry, I'm not feeling well. I am on medication. And in fact, the doctor who prescribed it said, oh, I can give you a note to give to them, which I did. And Dr. Kwame Adokufo, who is a member of the disciplinary committee, being a doctor, knows what the condition is. But in the afternoon, the medicine had worn off. But you see, look at it this way, the magnitude of going to chair a steering committee meeting where you go through a set agenda and putting that against people who are calling you before them to say, come because we want to hang you. Meanwhile, these are the charges, 11 ridiculous charges. Ridiculous. I say I won't go into the detail. When we get to the courts, I'll have my day in the stand.
Well, sir, we're going to take another short break. And when we come back, I'd like to find out from you directly whether, in spite of what is happening in the party, you will still vote for the New Patriotic Party in November this year.
Thank you.
Short break. Hello and welcome back to Hot Issues, and today we are in conversation with Mr. Paul Afoko, and we are looking at developments in the New Patriotic Party. Now, sir, given all that is happening, November 2016, would you vote for the New Patriotic Party?
Yes.
You've been suspended.
I'll vote for the New Patriotic Party. It's my party.
Yeah, but they suspended you. They don't need you.
Well, they say they've suspended me. A group of 70 plus people say they've suspended me. Those 70 plus people never even voted for me in the first place. They campaigned against me. They told lies about me. They told stories about me. And I promise you, after this interview, they will find new stories to tell. They will find new lies to tell. They will concoct all sorts of stories. They haven't suspended me. They voted, that's the word. The party is not them. The party is not them. The party is out there. The party has a spirit. That party is still there. You cannot take a few intolerant people sitting in one corner and saying, we don't like this person. As I said on another platform, one day we run the risk of having a presidential candidate and then another group of people, 70, 80 of them, will sit in a room in Accra and say, even though all these polling station executives voted for this one person to be presidential candidate, we don't like it, we are removing him. That's why we have a constitution. That's why I'm in court. I haven't been suspended. They are just blocking me from performing my duties.
Okay.
And that is why I'm in court, to get the courts to interpret our constitution for them clearly.
Why would you not just withdraw the case from court and let them do what they want to do? Why wouldn't you withdraw the case from court and bring about some peace in the party?
You see, the thing is, I went around the country with a message to the party, and the party bought that message in spite of all the negative things that were thrown at me. And then I ended up in Tamale on a Sunday dawn, swearing an oath, not only to the party, but to the world as witnesses. And you say, that oath that I took, why don't I just leave it? This is part of the reform. The reforms. This party must come back to its constitution. It's not to be at the behest of a few people. We say we are the party of law and order. We believe in the law. So I would want the law to come in, because you see, if you don't get justice, then there'll be no peace. You cannot have peace when there's no justice. The two of them, go together. And where is the justice? In a group of people sitting somewhere and saying to the rest of the party that we know better than you, so we are overturning your decision, even though we have a constitution that regulates how we behave. But we are going to throw away the constitution and do that which we want. Then where is the justice? I am doing this so that the party can come into itself and be confident that we all joined a certain club, and that club has a set of rules, and that we will obey those rules. We are all signed up to those rules. If you want to change the rules, change the rules. But you cannot. We can't all join a club and then suddenly we are being told that even though you signed up to these rules and that's why you are in the club, forget it, we are going to do this. It doesn't happen like that. Regulation.
So now let us look at this scenario. You've gone to court. The court vindicates your position and says that you are national chairman.
Yes.
Are you able to go back to party headquarters and work as national chairman?
Yes, I will go back to party headquarters to work as national chairman.
With invincible forces waiting for you in the party headquarters?
That is another hurdle that we'll cross when we get to. We are a democratic party and we live in a country of laws.
How are you going to be able to work with all of these elders and so on who have taken a very strong position against you?
It's not the question of working. You see, they've taken a position against me, and it's a position that I believe is prejudiced. They've prejudged me, and therefore, but it's not about me. It's about the party. It's about getting this party ready for a certain particular battle. It's about power. The party winning power. Not Afoko being chairman. I have said this before, and I even said this in the meeting of the Council of Elders, where I answered all those ridiculous charges that they have now turned into something else. I told them that Paul Afoko, I don't see the position of chairman to be anything. I only see the position of chairman for the potential it has
to win power.
To win power. It's not an end in itself.
In the period of your suspension, the period in which you've been suspended, allegedly suspended,
yes,
have you ever had any interaction with Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo?
Yes, once.
What was the nature of the interaction?
President J. Akufo Foundation at the International Conference Center. When I walked in there, I shook his hand and I went and sat down.
That's all?
That's all.
Nothing more?
Nothing more.
Nana has not been speaking to you about what you can contribute
no.
to bring about his victory?
No, I don't lie, so I'm telling you no.
And you have not made any efforts to reach out to him?
No. No, I haven't. Simple. I haven't.
Is it true you were quoted as saying that the only person who can tell you to withdraw the case from court and you would agree would be President Akufo? Did you ever say that?
No.
You've never said that?
I've never said that.
Are you in touch with President Akufo?
Oh, yes.
What do you normally discuss when you see President Akufo?
Well, we are, first and foremost, we are friends. So, for example, I've just come back from holiday. Ask about my wife, my children. He's met them, he knows them. We talk about normal everyday things. And then politics will come in, hey, what's going on in the party? And I would say what there is to say. Sometimes he'll give me advice. Sometimes he will say, think about it, be patient. He's always preaching patience. Always. Paul, be patient. Do you believe in God? Yes, sir. Pray. Pray, Paul. Pray. God is great.
Now, if all these matters are not resolved before November 7th, how would you see the party? You want to vote for the party, but if all of these matters are not resolved, November 7th, how do you see the party?
You see, when I put myself forward for this position, I was clear in my mind that there was a strategy, we were going to implement that strategy, and that by March, that is end of the first quarter of this year, we would be clear that we were winning this election. We'll be clear, because we would have put all those building blocks of victory in place. Sadly, we have spent all that time on vilification of Afoko, attack Afoko and whoever else dares to even say they don't agree with the attacks. And you know, if certain particular newspaper in this country turned itself into attacking me. And so, as I said, sadly, we are at the point where that particular program has suffered. Having said that, all it does is throw things in the air. The certainty with which I would have sat with you in March and told you, Kwesi, it's over. And that even the NDC, if they look into their own hearts, they know it's over and they would have admitted it. I can't be certain. I can't be certain. It's now a toss-up at this point in time. But having said that, I don't have the monopoly of wisdom or strategic thinking.
You have been suspended.
Purportedly.
Purportedly.
Yeah.
The second vice chairman has been suspended.
Yes.
The general secretary has been suspended.
Yes.
Founding member Nyaho Tamaku has been suspended.
Yes.
There are threats to suspend Andrew Awuni.
Yes.
Kwame Pinim has already been ostracized from the party.
Yes.
There are attacks on the former president.
Yes.
There are attacks on some of the former ministers, key members of the party, and so on.
Yes.
There are threats to dismiss or suspend Kennedy Japan. Several constituency officers have been dismissed.
Yes.
Even polling station officers have been dismissed and so on.
Yes.
Where is your party heading?
Kwesi, I believe that all of these people who have been either purportedly suspended or threatened with dismissal and all that are waiting for our courts to give us justice, because we surrender ourselves to the law. Once we get justice, everybody will come back in. That was my goal. That is why even when certain people went out to lie about me and to end up taking me to Interpol for investigation, I became chairman and didn't attack them. I told all of them we are all going to work together because we have one goal, which is power. Once the courts reaffirm our constitution and interpret it for others to also understand, then my task becomes even much more difficult, but it will be done. It will be to pull this party back together and make sure that the structures of the party work in an unbiased manner in the interest of the party, but not the interest of one section or the other. Once we get that, then our party is ready.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
For coming.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I didn't get the chance to say a happy new year to all your viewers and listeners. I thank you all for the time you've taken to listen to me. I wish you all a happy new year, and hopefully, God willing, I'll come back with you at your invitation
to announce the victory of the MPP in the 2016 elections.
One step at a time.
Okay.
To announce that the courts have upheld our constitution
And that you're heading to victory.
And that I am heading to the party office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, you heard it all. We've been speaking to Mr. Paul Afoko, who some say has been suspended as national chairman of the New Patriotic Party. And taking a cue from him, we'd like to wish all of you a very, very, very happy and prosperous New Year. And it's coming to you from all of us at Hot Issues. Have a happy and prosperous New Year.